LWO1 WeatherNet. Liftoff conditions looking pretty good.
ESTS is ready for launch.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
Ten, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Stage 1 press for flight.
Minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Plus 40 seconds, we've got a beautiful view of Falcon 9 successfully lifting off
Entry is nominal.
from Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center, carrying our stack of Starlink satellites to orbit. And we are throttling down the vehicle, the engines, in preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure. This is the largest structural load that the vehicle sees on ascent, so slowing down the vehicle helps us pass through this short period.
Max Q.
And there's that call out that we've passed through max Q. Now, in about a minute, we'll have 3 events happening. That'll be main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, stage separation, and SES-1, which is second engine start 1. Now, MECO is where we shut down all 9 of those M1D engines on the first stage to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation. And that's where the first stage separates from the second stage. First stage will start making its way.
Back is chilling.
First stage will start making its way back to Earth for landing, while second stage continues on its journey with the third event, which is SES-1, or second engine start 1. And that's where we light up the MVAC engine, and it propels the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to orbit. We've just got some awesome views on the screen. Such a beautiful morning. We're just about 15 seconds away from those 3 events: MECO, stage separation, and SES-1.
And MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition and throttle up.
And there you just saw MECO and stage separation on your left-hand screen. On your right-hand screen is the second stage. Waiting on fairing deploy coming up here shortly.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there you could see the fairing halves have been deployed, and you could see them falling back to Earth. And with that stage separation, that confirms the 8th successful flight for this Falcon 9 booster on ascent. So very exciting. And as a reminder, we will be attempting to recover the fairing halves today with our recovery ships Mystery and Mischief. Now, as Stage 2 heads towards its targeted drop-off orbit, Stage 1 will execute 2 burns in order to make its way back to Earth. And that first burn is called the entry burn. That's where 3 of the 9 M1D engines will reignite. And
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
This helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters into the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. The second and final burn for the first stage is the landing burn. Each of the M1D engines has 190,000 pounds of thrust, which is just enough to slow down the vehicle rapidly to touch down for landing, as the landing burn is just a single engine burn. And again, this is the vehicle's 8th flight, so it is our life leader. It has completed a successful ascent and stage separation, so let's see if we can land it for the 8th time, which will be a first for Falcon 9.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
You heard that call out that both vehicles are nominal. We're just a little over a minute away from that entry burn start on the first stage. That second stage engine, that MVAC engine, has a thrust of 220,500 pounds of thrust in a vacuum. Pretty powerful engine there.
Stage 1, entry burn startup.
There's that call out and visual of the entry burn on the first stage on your left-hand screen. So it lasts about 20 seconds long.
Stage 1, entry burn shut down.
And that concludes the entry burn on first stage. And as a reminder, at our recovery site in the Atlantic Ocean, ground level winds are in the forecast today. These winds are potentially stronger than what Falcon 9 has experienced on
Nominal trajectories.
That was just a call out that everything is nominal. These winds are potentially stronger than what Falcon 9 has experienced on previous flights. Therefore, today's mission will be what we call an envelope expansion on our first stage landing wind performance, meaning we're going to test the wind limits of our vehicle upon landing.
Stage 1, landing burn startup.
There's that call out. Landing burn has started on first stage. Let's see if we could stick this landing. There's a view of the drone ship on your left-hand screen.
Stage 1, landing leg deploy.
Looks like we lost that live view on the first stage. We'll wait for confirmation. And there you can see on your screen, we have landed the Falcon 9 for the 8th time. This is our life leader. What an amazing morning. That is an awesome view. And we're just waiting for SECO 1 on second stage.
And SECO.
And there's that call out for SECO 1. Waiting for confirmation of good orbit.
Nominal insertion.
And there's that call out for good orbit on second stage. What an exciting morning. We've landed that first stage for the 8th time. And now that second stage is going to coast.
Signal, Newfoundland.
Second stage is now going to coast in this orbit for the next 35 minutes or so. And while that happens, take a look at this, the animation. We'll have an animation showcasing where we are in the coast phase. So we'll see you back here at T plus 45 minutes for that second stage relay.
Expected loss of signal, Bermuda. Expected loss of signal, Newfoundland. Acquisition of signal, Goon Hilly.
Welcome back to the webcast for Starlink. We had an on-time liftoff this morning at 8:02 a.m. Eastern Time, followed by the completion of the first 8th flight and recovery for this booster, which is a first for Falcon 9, and despite those stronger winds. Today marks our 65th landing of Falcon 9 and 72nd successful recovery of a first stage. We're now just waiting for the relight of our second stage, or SES-2, coming up here in a few seconds. It'll be a short 1-second burn. Just waiting for that call out. Again, it's just a 1-second burn, so it's very quick, but it does go a long way for this second stage.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And there we heard that call out for good nominal insertion. Again, we just had SES-2 and SECO-2, just a quick burn of that second stage engine. We have another 15-minute coast phase before we deploy our next batch of satellites into orbit. And during this time, the spacecraft will start to spin along its central axis, giving the Starlink satellites the momentum they need to space themselves out over time after they deploy. While this happens, sit back and enjoy the space jams. We'll see you back here at T plus 1 hour and 4 minutes.
Expected loss of signal. It's Diego Garcia. Welcome back to our webcast. We had an on-time liftoff this morning, and again, our Life Leader vehicle completed the first 8th flight and recovery for a Falcon 9. Now we're coming up on the deployment of our stack of Starlink satellites in just a few seconds here. So we will listen in and watch live. Got the sun beaming into our camera view there. Payload deploy confirmed.
What you are seeing live are those Starlink satellites in space, drifting away from our second stage, which confirms deployment. Shortly, they will deploy their solar array, and over the next few days and weeks, they will distance themselves from each other and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to their operational orbit. Beautiful live view. And that brings our webcast to a close. Thank you to the range and the FAA for supporting today's mission. And thanks to all of our viewers, as well as all of those in the US, Canada, and the UK who ordered Starlink under our public beta program. If you're interested in being a part of our beta program, head over to starlink.com and sign up. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.